I think that choosing your venue is one of the most exciting parts of wedding planning. Once you've chosen the venue, you can really start to visualise your big day. You've probably found several venues and visited a few, and I know that there's a lot of information to process to find the right venue for your wedding day. So today I aim to cover some of the important questions that you need to ask your venue to find the one that's right for you. Welcome to the Barn at Cop Farm. I'm Becca and this is my husband Ollie. We own and manage this beautiful wedding and events venue here in South Somerset. We renovated this timber barn for our wedding in 2016. Since then, we've happily been hosting weddings and large events at the farm, and we want to share some of our wedding planning experiences with couples planning their own wedding. Couples can compromise on most elements of their wedding planning, but something that you really can't compromise on is your guest list. So capacity is probably the deal-breaking question that you need to find out from venues. I would suggest making a kind of draft guest list before you approach venues so that you can work out whether their capacity is going to work for you. You'll obviously need to know how much the venue charges, but you'll also need to know what's included in that charge and what extras you may want or need from the venue or from other suppliers. You basically want to get to a total price that includes everything that you'll need for your big day, and this needs to include any extra costs or hidden charges such as corkage. Also, find out if venue hire includes a bar, outdoor furniture, toilet facilities, heating and decorations. You'll need all of those things, so if they're not included, then you will need to budget for them. As a wedding venue, we work really hard to make sure that our brochure and price list covers everything that you're going to need before you even come to visit us. Just check out the information that your venue sends you so that you can work out a total price. Once you've visited your shortlisted venues, then don't be afraid to ask the venue for a detailed quote based on your actual guest numbers and your requirements. If the venue can't provide some of what you're looking for, then ask them for recommendations. We provide things like fairy lights on the beams, bunting, a backdrop for the top table and a foliage chandelier. We've also got loads of different styling props and accessories that couples are welcome to borrow. But my point here really is to ask your venue what's here, what's included, what's available but for an extra fee, and what you're going to need to source yourselves. This is especially important if you're visiting a venue when it's set up for a wedding, because you won't know what belongs to the venue and what belongs to the couples. If your venue includes catering, then you need to find out whether the menus are at all adaptable. Could you write your own menu, for example? And how will your catering company or venue deal with any guests with special dietary requirements? If there's no catering option at your venue, then you'll need staff for serving your food and drinks from your welcome drinks onwards, and you'll also need to take care of equipment, so things like crockery, cutlery and glass hire. You'll also need your tables laid either by staff or by you. All of these things should be included in an inclusive venue, or from your catering company if you're doing a DIY wedding. If they aren't included, then you're going to need to add these to your budget. You'll also need a wedding coordinator on the day. This is basically somebody to make sure that the whole day runs to plan and you do everything that you want to do. I can't stress the importance of having a wedding coordinator enough. For our own wedding, we didn't throw the dried flower confetti that I had spent a year drying because we forgot, and we very nearly didn't cut our cake until the band reminded us to do it. So seriously, if there isn't a wedding coordinator included with your venue, then really do think about getting a professional to come and do it for you. When you visit the venue, have a good look at the furniture and try and picture how you want it to look on your big day. Think, for example, do you need to use tablecloths and chair covers? And if so, is that something that the venue provides, or is it something that you need to budget for separately and hire yourselves? If you do need tablecloths, then have a look at local hire companies that provide these services. Better yet, don't use tablecloths, go for wooden furniture like ours. So we're an exclusive use venue, but what does that actually mean for you? So it means that the only people at your venue on your special day, so at your ceremony, in the grounds, in the car park, in the toilets, at the bar, on the dance floor, and in our campsite, the only people there are going to be you and your guests and some of our discreet staff. In short, it means that you're going to have privacy throughout your special day and you won't be sharing the venue, the staff, or the facilities with anybody else. If the venue you have your heart set on isn't exclusive use, then find out what is exclusive to you. So, for example, you may have a private room for your reception, but be sharing facilities like the bar or the toilets with others. If you are sharing any of your venue with others, then find out who you're sharing with. So, for example, are there going to be other weddings taking place on the same day? Availability is probably an obvious one, but you need to find out whether the venue has any of your favourite dates available. Also find out how their charging structure works, because I know that some venues charge more for kind of summer weddings, for example. If you're planning to have a civil ceremony at your venue, then you'll need to find out whether the venue has a ceremony licence. Unless you particularly want to have a church wedding, then a civil ceremony and then having a wedding reception in one place is perfect, because it means that you and your guests don't have to move from one venue to another after the ceremony. And also check what the wet weather options are. There should be an indoor and an outdoor option just in case. Most venues will have a list of recommended suppliers, so this is basically companies and people that we as a venue have worked with before and we trust. This can be really helpful for you if you don't know where to start looking for a professional photographer or a wedding florist. But recommended suppliers aren't the same as preferred suppliers. So if a venue insists that you stick with their preferred suppliers, then this can limit your choice and potentially not work for your budget. A key question is, when are you able to access your venue to add your own personal touches? So, for example, here we allow couples to come on the Friday to do their decorations and come with their florist to do the flowers, and then we allow access on the Sunday for couples to come and collect their belongings. If your venue hosts even more than one wedding a day, then the chances are you won't be able to have access the day before. So find out what time you can have access on the morning of your wedding, and really think about whether you actually want to be going to decorate your venue on the morning of your wedding, or whether you should be sending your florist and possibly even a venue stylist along to go and do it for you. Also, find out when you're able to collect flowers and decor, as well as things like your cards and presents. It's really not ideal to be doing this at the end of your wedding day, so find out whether you can come the day after. If it isn't an option to come the day after, then think about allocating this duty to some of your guests to collect your things at the end of the night so that you don't have to deal with it. You'll need to know what time the venue is licensed until. So what time do they need to stop selling alcohol and playing live music? Basically, what time does your wedding day need to finish? Also find out about staff and whether bar staff are included. Try and have a look at the bar when you visit, see what drinks they stock, and if they don't have your favourites, then ask whether it's something that they could get in for your wedding day. So this section is to cover things like parking. Is there enough parking for all of your guests? If lots of people are travelling by car to your venue, then you do need to check that there's enough space to park all of their cars. It's also handy to know if your guests can leave their cars overnight if they want to have a drink, and whether they need to think ahead about taxis. Another practical thing to think about is whether or not you're allowed to use confetti at your venue. Some venues have banned it outright, and others, like us, do permit it as long as it's real flower confetti. No synthetic confetti is allowed, even the stuff labelled biodegradable. Lastly, under the practical stuff section, just have a think about the outdoor space of your venue and how you might use it. Think about places for photos and whether there's seating outdoors.